Hello, I am Uyan from Learn to Share. I'll be taking part in lectures on microeconomics regarding AP tests and deeper economic principles. Today's topic is understanding the principles of demand and supply. Let's start now. We would cover the contents in the following order. In economics, consumers aim to maximize their utility from consumption, while producers aim to maximize their profits. This chapter will discuss the principles behind how the market system achieves efficiency by naturally controlling those two wants. In the priority, it is good to know the term ceteris paribus, which means all other things are constant. This assumption is crucial for establishment of the theories that we will learn from now on. Then let's learn what is demand. Demand is consumers want an ability to buy a certain price. For example, Jason wants to buy an apple for $7 and I will afford it as $10, but it is different by person. When you accumulate each person's desire and organize it to a table, we call it demand schedule. And when you convert it to a graph, we call it demand curve. We can find the underlying law of demand, which is one of the important concepts in AP economics. And means demand decreases as the price increases. The low figure is the actual curve of demand, and we can see that as price goes down, the quantity rather increases. Don't forget to clarify quantity on x-axis and price on y-axis when you're asked to draw real graph in free response questions. It might be quite confusing. Simply thinking, it is granted that we can buy more at a lower price. However, there are three main factors to prove this law. The first effect is substitution effect. It means consumers replace the consumption of high-priced goods with low-priced goods. For example, let's assume that apples and oranges can be replaced with each other. If the price of apples rises by $5, we would probably purchase more of oranges instead of apples because it gives us more satisfaction with lower costs. So when the price of good A decreases, consumers tend to buy more of that, and therefore the demand for substitute good as decreases. Second, the income effect means the decline in price creates more demand because you can buy more than before. If an apple costs $5 and you have $100, we can buy 20 apples, right? But if the apple price decreases by $4, then we can buy 25 apples, 5 apples more than before. It makes feel more budget than before. So it leads to greater expenditure and therefore demand increases. The last one is diminishing marginal utility. The marginal utility is same as the height of demand curve. And the marginal utility's definition is the utility you gain when you purchase one more extra unit. But we get diminished marginal utilities when we purchase 2 and 3 more goods. Let's hold an example of Coke. You'd feel like in heaven when drinking the first can, but you will have less joy and rather feel full when you drink 2 or 3 more cans of Coke. Then you would not want to pay the same price as much as the first can, and therefore finally demand decreases. The following procedures are not included in AP tests, so you may skip the minutes. This is the process of drawing out the demand curve. by utilizing the budget line. Because our assets are not infinite, we have an obvious budget in our lives. Considering only two goods exist, the budget line indicates the combination of good X and Y that can be purchased by fully utilizing our budget. So we can make the equation of the income equals to quantity of X multiplied by price of X plus quantity of Y multiplied by the price of Y. We can reorganize it to this equation. Also, we have to know the concept of indifference curve, and thus the combination of points where we can get same utility. It means the lowest curve provides us 10 utilities, and the upper one provides us 20 utilities, and the highest curve gives us 30 utilities. Like this, it is the set of points where we can get the same utility by purchasing these two goods. And marginal rate of substitution refers to quantity of Y that is given up to increase the quantity of X. This is because our budget is limited. We have to give up some of Y to get more of X. And we have to calculate the slope of indifference curve. The slope can be the change in X of change in Y, and therefore, and since due to the equation below, we can say that the MRS, which is the slope of indifference curve, equals to marginal utility of X divided by marginal utility of Y. Then let's find the utility maximizing point, where it should be the slope of two lines must be equal. The slope of budget line was price of X divided by price of Y when you take an absolute value. And the tilt of indifference curve was marginal utility of X divided by marginal utility of Y. Therefore, the utility of consumers is maximized at this point. Then let's take the next step. However, if the price of X decreases and of course Y stays same, the slope changes because the slope can be gained by the price of X divided by price of Y. So if the price decreases, then the tilt is more inclined to right, and if the price inclines, then the tilt tends to be more at the left. And of course, each budget line has its indifference curve like this. Then we will connect intersections according to the change in price of budget line and indifference curve like this. Then we can get an upslope curve called price consumption curve. We're almost done. However, this is the relationship between good X and good Y. But we want to know the relationship between price of X and quantity of X. So using the points in this graph, we will reorganize it to this form totally about the quantity of X in the x-axis and the price of X and the y-axis. Wow, we gained the demand curve that we found some minutes ago. Of course, substitution effect and income effect is also reflected in this model. Because the decline in price of X led to more consumption of X and deprived the consumption of Y, the budget line has moved like an lead budget line from black one to red one. However, the income effect increased the general demand and therefore it expanded the budget line itself to the purple line. So we can say that the demand inclined as the price decreased, and it is changed by both two effects. Of course, in spite of our demonstration, there remain exceptions in applying the law. The famous cases are Babylon goods and given goods. Babylon goods are notable in luxury goods because they are bought to show off their wealth. Therefore, purchase increases even the price goes higher. On the other hand, given goods, it is still not practically proven, were derived from a phenomenon when there was a starvation in town. Because potatoes were necessary for their lives, people increased the purchase of potatoes, even though the potato price soared. So there's two exceptions that are discussed in current economics. Then now let's come back to AP materials. This concept is very, very important, and there are many tricks asking on this one, so you must be fully comprehended of this. We will look at difference between movement of along the curve and shift of the curve. Movement along the curve as the point on the graph moves along the curve. Yes, it is literally saying. So it is only affected by the price. Yes, price is only determinant, and in the multiple choice questions, it will be given in the form of quantity of demand, quantity of supply, quantity of blah blah blah. However, shift of curve as the movement of curve itself to left or right. It is affected by various factors, but not price. So it will be given in the form of demand and supply. Just the word itself will be given. So to sum up, if the question asks about the change in quantity of demand of supply, you have to think of movement along the curve. However, if the question asks you change in demand or supply, you have to draw the curve that is shifted, that itself is shifted to left or right.